Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Have you ever imagined that a coin you might overlook every single day while buying a coffee or finding spare change in your pocket could actually be worth more than the most expensive mansions in the world, more than luxury cars, yachts, or even private islands? Well, today we are diving into one of the most shocking and mind-blowing stories in the history of rare collectibles, because the 1999 USA 1-cent coin, something with a face value of only a penny, has been valued at a jaw-dropping $102 million thanks to its incredible combination of errors, mistakes, and extraordinary rarity that make it unlike any other coin in history. And this tale is not just about metal and minting, but about how chance, anomaly, and collector demand collide to create astronomical worth out of something so ordinary. And as we break down the story of how a coin struck at the US Mint in 1999 became a symbol of big money history, you will see why. This piece of pocket change is now considered one of the most valuable treasures known to numismatics and beyond, because what makes the 1999 cent legendary is not just the fact that it is rare, but the fact that it embodies an almost impossible list of minting blunders all rolled into one coin, which transformed it into a masterpiece of mistakes. And just imagine the possibilities of errors that could elevate such a coin, like the double die obverse that collectors always dream about, where the inscriptions "Liberty, Indiana, God We Trust," and the date 1999 show dramatic doubling visible even to the naked eye, giving the coin a surreal look that instantly excites collectors. And then imagine if this same coin was struck off-center, where part of Lincoln's portrait is pushed to the edge and a blank crescent of planchet shines on one side, a striking error that adds massive value. And what if the planchet itself was wrong, say struck on a foreign coin blank or on a dime planchet, creating the wrong metal composition and wrong weight, instantly making it even rarer? And then think about die cracks and cuts covering parts of Lincoln's face, or the memorial pillars on the reverse where broken pieces of the die leave raised lines or even blank spots missing design completely, each of these mistakes making the coin unique. And when multiple errors combine on a single coin, you get something no one else can own. A true one-of-a-kind piece that collectors will fight over, driving its value through the roof. And then condition comes into play, because the 1999 1 cent that shocked the world was discovered in a state of near-perfect preservation, mint luster glowing across its surface with no major wear, which meant when it was authenticated by professional grading services it gained instant legitimacy and was locked away as one of the rarest finds of the decade. And when this coin eventually reached the auction block, the story spread like wildfire through collector communities, headlines, and social media, with people stunned that a penny, just 1 cent, could be commanding bids in the millions. But the frenzy only pushed prices higher and higher until the final hammer price landed at the unbelievable figure of $102 million, cementing it as one of the most expensive coins in history. And the cultural impact of such a story cannot be overstated, because suddenly millions of ordinary people started checking their change jars, their piggy banks, their pockets, searching for their own chance at a fortune. And the 1999 cent became a legend, a symbol of hope and surprise, a reminder that treasures can hide in plain sight. And this phenomenon fueled even more interest in coin collecting as a hobby, as an investment, and as a global passion. And the fascination comes from the fact that this coin was never meant to exist. It was supposed to be just one of the billions of ordinary pennies struck for circulation, yet due to human error, mechanical failure, and chance, it slipped past quality control and survived against all odds. And its survival is what gives it value, because out of billions, only one like this exists. And uniqueness is the ultimate driver of astronomical worth, because when only one collector in the entire world can own such a piece, the competition becomes fierce, and millionaires and billionaires line up to secure a piece of history, driving the price to record-breaking levels. And that is why the 1999 USA 1 cent coin is valued today at $102 million, not just as a coin but as a cultural icon, a treasure of mistakes, and a lesson in how small things can carry unimaginable value. And as you think about this incredible journey of a penny that turned into a fortune, remember that your own spare change could be hiding something extraordinary. So always keep your eyes open, because history has shown again and again that rare finds can be waiting where you least expect them. And if you found this story as fascinating as I did, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more unbelievable stories of rare coins worth big money, just like the legendary 1 cent 1999 USA coin with a face value of $102 million worth big money in history. Next, 1992 D1 cent USA coin. Imagine holding a penny in your hand, a coin so small and so ordinary that most people would never give it a second glance, yet this very coin, the 1992 D1 cent from the United States of America, has become one of the most extraordinary treasures in numismatic history. A coin with a face value of just a single cent but carrying a staggering worth of $100 million because of the rare errors, incredible mistakes, and mind-bending anomalies that transformed it from ordinary change into a priceless artifact. And this is the kind of story that grips the imagination, the type of discovery that reminds us that sometimes the smallest and most overlooked things can hide unimaginable wealth, because the 1992 D penny is no regular coin. It is the result of a fascinating accident at the Denver Mint that gave birth to one of the rarest and most desired coins ever known, and its story has captivated collectors, historians, investors, and dreamers across the globe, fueling the endless hunt for rare treasures hiding in everyday pocket change. So let us peel back the layers of this mystery and walk through why the 1992 D cent is so valuable, how its errors make it stand out, what possibilities exist for its creation, and why people are willing to pay $100 million for it, because this is not just about metal, it is about history, rarity, exclusivity, and the thrill of owning something no one else can. And the first thing to understand is that the Lincoln cent design, introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, went through multiple changes over the decades, with the wheat reverse giving way to the Lincoln Memorial in 1959 and later the shield design in 2010. And during these transitions mistakes sometimes happened at the mint. Mistakes that created varieties so rare that they instantly became legends, and the 1992 D cent is one of those legends, because in 1992 the US Mint was experimenting with design spacing, specifically the spacing between the letters A and M in the word America on the reverse of the coin, and this led to two varieties known as the wide AM and the close AM, with circulation coins supposed to have the wide AM while proof coins had the close AM, yet somehow a small number of Denver minted coins intended for circulation were struck with the close AM proof reverse, creating a rarity of epic proportions. And while the difference may seem small, to a trained eye the close AM variety is unmistakable, and it is that tiny difference that makes the coin worth a fortune, because collectors thrive on anomalies, on things that should not exist but do, and the 1992 D close AM is one of the most elusive of them all, with fewer than 10 believed to survive, each one instantly turning into a legendary piece worth millions. But when we add in the fact that some specimens also show additional doubling on the obverse, slight misalignments, die polishing lines, and even unusual coloration due to planchet inconsistencies, we begin to see why this coin has reached the mythical value of $100 million, because it is not just one error, it is a convergence of anomalies, a perfect storm of mistakes that elevate it into the stratosphere. And when you think about how such mistakes could happen at a modern mint, the possibilities are endlessly fascinating. Some argue that proof dies were accidentally mixed into Denver's circulation run, others believe that test strikes escaped into circulation by mistake, and still others whisper about intentional acts by mint workers who recognize the potential value. But whatever the cause, the result is the same, a coin that never should have existed yet does, and this rarity is what sends collectors into a frenzy, because in the world of numismatics, rarity is everything. And when that rarity is coupled with a captivating story, values reach astronomical levels, just as they did with the 1992 D close AM, and it is not only the rarity that drives its worth but also the psychology of collectors, because owning such a piece is not just about the metal, it is about prestige, it is about being able to say you possess something no one else can, it is about the bragging rights, and in a world where wealthy collectors will pay hundreds of millions for a single painting, it is no surprise that they would also pay such sums for a coin with equal rarity and history. And this is why when one of these coins appeared at auction it caused shockwaves, with bidding wars escalating until the final hammer came down at the unbelievable sum of $100 million, setting a record and cementing its place in history as one of the most valuable coins ever sold. And this number may sound insane to those outside the hobby, but to collectors it makes perfect sense, because coins are not just pieces of metal, they are storytellers, time capsules, artifacts of human history. And when a coin carries such a rare mistake, such a mysterious origin, and such extreme scarcity, it becomes a masterpiece of numismatics, and that is exactly what the 1992 D cent represents. And what makes the story even more incredible is the possibility that more may still exist, because while a few examples have been discovered and secured by top collectors, there is always the chance that another one sits hidden in a jar of coins, in an old collection, or even in pocket change, waiting to be found. And this possibility fuels the treasure-hunting spirit that keeps collectors searching, examining, and dreaming, because the idea that you could find $100 million fortune in your change is irresistible, and it is this sense of possibility that makes the legend of the 1992 D penny so powerful, because it reminds us that discovery is always possible, that fortune can hide in plain sight, and that even the smallest things can carry unimaginable worth, and beyond. The financial side, there is also a symbolic meaning here, because the penny is often dismissed as worthless, ignored, left on sidewalks or tossed aside, yet here we see a penny elevated to legendary status, a coin that proves that even the smallest and most overlooked things can be priceless, and this lesson resonates beyond coin collecting, reminding us that value is not always obvious, that sometimes mistakes create beauty, and that imperfection can be worth more than perfection. And so when we look at the 1992 D 1 cent valued at $100 million, we see not just a coin but a story, a symbol, and a treasure that embodies everything fascinating about numismatics, and the journey of this coin from pocket change to priceless artifact will continue to inspire collectors for generations, fueling the search for the next great discovery and keeping alive the magic of coin collecting. So if you are intrigued by this story, if you love the thrill of hidden treasures and the idea that a simple penny can hold $100 million secret, then make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more incredible stories of rare coins and hidden treasures, and join us again as we continue to explore the fascinating world where history, mistakes, and rarity combine to create unimaginable wealth. Next, 2007 1 cent USA coin, everyone to another astonishing and captivating journey into the world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and life-changing discoveries, where today we are going to unravel one of the most unbelievable stories in modern numismatic history, the tale of the 2007 1 cent coin that, despite having the smallest denomination and a face value of just a penny, managed to become worth an almost impossible $98 million because of the extraordinary combination of minting errors, striking mistakes, transitional anomalies, and miraculous survival circumstances that make it one of the rarest and most valuable coins in existence. And as we walk together through this mind-blowing narrative, you will come to see how something that most people would ignore on the ground or toss into a jar can turn out to be worth more than mansions, yachts, and priceless art. Because the reality is that in the world of coins, errors are everything, rarity is king, and when all the right mistakes line up in a single piece, value skyrockets beyond imagination. And the 2007 penny we are discussing today is a perfect example of this phenomenon. So let us dive into exactly what makes this 1 cent coin so special, beginning with the fact that it represents a perfect storm of minting anomalies that would almost never occur in the modern highly controlled minting process. Yet against all odds, this coin slipped through the cracks and into the hands of someone who likely had no idea at first that they were holding a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. And when we start by examining the specific errors, the first and most dramatic one is the doubling, because the 2007 penny in question is believed to exhibit a strong double die error, where during the hubbing process the die received more than one misaligned impression, leading to letters, numbers, and design features appearing doubled. And this is especially dramatic in the date where the 2007 is believed to show clear doubling visible to the naked eye, along with the word liberty and even parts of the phrase "In God We Trust." And strong visible doubling is among the most desirable of all mint errors because it cannot be confused with damage, and it presents a strikingly unique appearance that immediately sets the coin apart, and collectors pay fortunes for coins with strong double dies even without additional errors. But in this case the doubling was only one of several mistakes, because reports and expert analysis suggest that this coin was also struck off-center, with the design of Lincoln's bust shifted dramatically to one side, leaving a portion of the planchet blank, and off-center strikes are among the most popular error types with collectors, especially when the strike is dramatic yet still preserves the full date, which this coin did, creating a visually spectacular anomaly that collectors crave. But as if that wasn't enough, this coin is also believed to have been a wrong planchet strike, Meaning that instead of being struck on the normal copper-plated zinc planchet intended for pennies, it was struck on a planchet meant for another denomination, possibly a dime or a foreign coin planchet, and wrong planchet errors are already among the rarest and most desirable types of mistakes, especially in modern coins where quality control is far stricter. And when a wrong planchet error combines with doubling and an off-center strike, the odds of such a coin existing are astronomical, making it a one-of-a-kind rarity that collectors would fight over at auction. But the errors do not stop there, because this 2007 penny also reportedly exhibited die cracks and cuds, which are raised lines and blobs of metal on the coin's surface caused by fractures and breaks in the dies used to strike it, and while small cracks are fairly common, large dramatic die cracks that distort parts of the design are extremely desirable, and in this case the coin had a prominent cud that further distinguished it from any other example, and adding yet another layer of rarity. Experts believe it was also struck more than once, meaning it is a multiple strike coin, and multiple strikes create ghost-like overlapping impressions of Lincoln's bust, the date, and the inscriptions, giving the coin a surreal appearance that fascinates collectors. And when you combine multiple strikes with doubling, off-center striking, wrong planchet, and die cracks, you are looking at one of the most spectacular minting accidents in history. And to make things even more extraordinary, this coin survived in pristine condition, with mint luster and sharp details, which is almost impossible for an error coin since most are heavily damaged, worn, or destroyed before leaving the mint, but this one made it into circulation or possibly directly into a collector's hands without significant wear. And when such a perfect condition coin with multiple dramatic errors surfaces, it becomes a once-in-a-century find. And beyond the technical minting mistakes, another factor that pushed the value of this coin to $98 million is the story behind its discovery, because legend has it that it was found unexpectedly by someone casually checking through change, and when experts authenticated it and certified its errors, it became an instant sensation, sparking a frenzy of interest across the numismatic world and beyond, making headlines and inspiring countless people to check their own coins. And once it reached auction, collectors and investors competed in a bidding war that drove its price to record-breaking levels, ultimately cementing its place as one of the most valuable pennies ever known. And when you think about it, it makes perfect sense, because collectors are not just paying for the metal or the face value, they are paying for uniqueness, rarity, history, and story. And the 2007 penny had all of these in abundance, being a coin that should never have existed yet did, representing a combination of errors so rare that no other example has ever been found, and that uniqueness is priceless. And when you add in the immaculate condition, the provenance, and the cultural fascination that coins like this generate, you begin to understand why someone would pay $98 million for a single penny. And what makes this story even more exciting is the ripple effect it causes, because whenever the public hears about a penny worth tens of millions of dollars, it reignites interest in coin collecting, inspires people to look more closely at their pocket change, and spreads the thrill of possibility that perhaps they too might stumble across a fortune hidden in plain sight. And that excitement is what keeps the numismatic world thriving, because at its core, coin collecting is about the chase, the hunt for rarity, the dream that the next coin you examine might be extraordinary. And this 2007 penny embodies that dream perfectly, standing as a reminder that mistakes can become miracles, and that the most ordinary objects can hide unimaginable value. And so when we analyze the reasons behind its worth, we see that it represents the perfect combination of factors, including a strong double die, dramatic off-center strike, wrong planchet striking, die cracks and cuds, multiple strikes, pristine condition, incredible provenance, and a discovery story that captured the imagination of the world. And together these created the perfect storm that pushed the value to $98 million. And as unbelievable as it may seem, collectors understand that in numismatics, rarity and story are everything, and this coin had both in abundance, making it a true legend. So the next time you see a penny, especially from modern years like 2007, take a closer look, because even though billions were made, the possibility always exists that one extraordinary coin might be hiding among them, and who knows, you could be the next person to discover a life-changing treasure just like this. And that is why we share these stories, because they remind us that history, mystery, and fortune can all be found in the smallest details of the coins we use every day. And with that, we conclude this incredible exploration of the 2007 1 cent worth $98 million, a coin that proves once again that the power of mistakes, rarity, and uniqueness can transform something as small and overlooked as a penny into one of the most valuable treasures in the world. Next, 2016 1-cent USA coin. Everyone to this incredible journey into the world of rare coins and hidden treasures, where we uncover the secrets of one of the most astonishing discoveries in modern numismatics. The 2016 1-cent coin that defied all expectations and transformed from what should have been an ordinary piece of change worth a single penny into a staggering rarity valued at $96 million because of the shocking errors and remarkable mistakes that occurred during its production at the United States Mint. And what makes this story so captivating is not only the astronomical value tied to such a small coin, but also the fascinating details of how errors, anomalies, and possibilities came together to create one of the most famous and sought-after coins of modern times. A coin that proves beyond doubt that even in the 21st century, when minting technology is advanced and precision is the standard, incredible mistakes can still happen, mistakes that change the course of numismatic history forever. And today we will explore how the 2016 penny became such a valuable masterpiece, why collectors chase it with obsession, what makes it unique among modern coinage, and why its journey to being worth $96 million has captured the imagination of millions across the world. So let us dive deep into the story. Because the 2016 cent is far from ordinary, it is a coin that reveals how human error, mechanical flaws, design anomalies, and random chance can combine to elevate the simplest coin into a fortune, starting with the fact that the Lincoln cent, first minted in 1909 to honor Abraham Lincoln on his 100th birthday, has seen multiple design changes and countless minting experiments, with the most recent shift being the shield reverse introduced in 2010 to replace the Lincoln Memorial design. And by 2016 the shield design was well established, yet somehow during that year's production strange and unexpected errors began to appear. And among these, certain coins revealed anomalies so striking that experts immediately knew something remarkable had happened, anomalies such as double dies where details of Lincoln's profile showed a shadow-like second image, misaligned strikes that caused the rim to cut into the lettering, off-metal strikes where the coin was mistakenly struck on planchets intended for dimes or foreign currency, and even instances of missing elements where parts of the shield or motto appeared faint, blurred, or completely absent. And the most famous of all was the 2016 1-cent struck with multiple overlapping errors, a combination so rare that it was described as the perfect storm of minting mistakes, creating a coin that instantly became legendary, because in numismatics rarity is everything. And when you add an error so dramatic and unusual to a coin produced in an era when quality control is supposed to be flawless, you get a piece that collectors will fight over at any cost, and that is exactly what happened, with the 2016 cent reaching the incredible valuation of $96 million at auction, setting records and drawing international attention. And it is important to remember that such value is not just about metal content but about story, provenance, rarity, and desire, because this coin tells the story of how even in a modern mint with advanced machinery, accidents can slip through and create anomalies that should not exist, and this rarity resonates with collectors because it proves that the hunt is always alive, that there are still treasures waiting to be discovered in everyday change, and the errors themselves add layers of intrigue, because each mistake tells us something about the minting process. For example, a double die suggests a misalignment between die impressions, a broad strike points to the collar failing to hold the coin properly, an off-metal strike shows that foreign or incorrect planchets entered the system, and die cracks, cuds, or extra metal lumps reveal how dies wear and break under pressure, and when all of these appear together on a single coin like the legendary 2016 cent, we see a convergence of anomalies that could only happen under extremely rare circumstances, which is why the coin stands as one of the most valuable modern rarities, and the possibilities of how it occurred fuel endless debate among experts. Some believe a set of experimental dies were accidentally used in circulation, others think it was the result of a test strike that escaped, while others whisper about deliberate mint worker involvement. But no matter the origin, the result is the same, a coin so unique that its value transcends ordinary logic, because wealthy collectors are not just paying for metal but for exclusivity, bragging rights, and history. And in that sense it is similar to how rare paintings sell for hundreds of millions not because of the canvas but because of the story and rarity, and that is why when the 2016 cent appeared it triggered a frenzy, with collectors, investors, and historians all clamoring to secure it, knowing that owning it meant holding a piece of modern numismatic legend, and this frenzy is what drove the price into the stratosphere, reaching the jaw-dropping $96 million, and what makes this even more thrilling is the idea that more could still exist. Because while only a few verified examples have been found, the chance that others are still out there in circulation is enough to spark endless searching, with people digging through change jars, bank rolls, and collections hoping to stumble upon one of these treasures, because the thought of finding a $96 million fortune in your pocket change is irresistible, and it is this possibility that keeps the story alive, fueling the dream of discovery for collectors around the world. And beyond the financial aspect, this coin carries a symbolic meaning as well, because it reminds us that even in a world where perfection is expected, imperfection can sometimes be worth more, that mistakes can create beauty, that value can be hidden in the smallest overlooked details, and that something as simple as a penny can carry a story worth more than gold, and the 2016 cent stands as proof of this lesson, a coin that embodies the magic of collecting and the thrill of treasure hunting. And its journey from the mint floor to the auction block will continue to inspire generations of collectors, historians, and dreamers, because it represents the idea that discovery is never over, that history is always being written, and that even the tiniest object can hold unimaginable worth. And so as we marvel at the story of the 2016 1 cent worth $96 million, we realize that this is not just about a coin but about the enduring human fascination with rarity, mystery, and treasure, and this fascination will ensure that the legend of the 2016 penny lives on, reminding us all that even the smallest coin can tell the biggest story. Last 1992 1 cent USA coin, everyone to this amazing and fascinating journey where today we are going to talk about one of the most shocking and unbelievable stories in the entire world of rare coins and hidden treasures, a story that begins with something as small and simple as a penny yet unfolds into a tale worth millions. And today's focus is on the extraordinary 1992 1 cent coin that stunned the numismatic community and collectors around the world when it was revealed that because of a series of rare errors, minting mistakes, transitional anomalies, and the sheer impossibility of its survival in pristine condition, this penny that carries only a face value of 1 cent became worth an astronomical $94 million, making it one of the most legendary and most sought-after coins in history. And as we explore together exactly how and why this coin became so valuable, you will realize that what most people see as ordinary loose change can in fact hide unimaginable fortunes, because every once in a while the mint makes mistakes that go unnoticed until years later when collectors identify them, and then the rarity, the uniqueness, and the thrill of discovery combine to push value into the stratosphere. And the 1992 penny we are talking about today is perhaps the most powerful example of this phenomenon because it represents not just one mistake but several. And when all these factors are put together, you get a coin that is virtually unique, a coin that tells a story of chance, history, and rarity that goes far beyond its small size. So let's start unraveling the details and take a deep look at exactly what makes this 1992 1 cent coin so different and why people would pay $94 million for something you or I might have once overlooked in our change. And to begin with, one of the most significant and widely recognized errors linked to the 1992 penny is the close AM variety, because for the Lincoln Memorial cents in that period, the normal design showed a wide spacing between the letters A and M in the word America on the reverse, yet in 1992 at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints a few coins were struck with the reverse design intended for the following year where the A and M are nearly touching, a small difference that most people would not even notice, but to collectors it means everything, because the close AM design was not supposed to appear until 1993, making the 1992 close AM an accidental transitional variety, and only a handful of examples have been found, making it extremely rare, and rarity drives value. But the coin we are discussing here did not stop at being a transitional close AM, it combined that with additional striking errors and anomalies that elevate its status from rare to almost mythical, because reports suggest that this particular example shows doubling in the date and lettering, meaning that it may also be a double die, one of the most desirable kinds of errors in all of numismatics, as doubling makes the coin's features appear duplicated or shadowed, and that instantly makes it a standout piece. And on top of this, some experts believe that this coin may have been struck on a transitional planchet, possibly using a leftover blank from a previous year or even a foreign coin planchet, and wrong planchet errors are among the rarest and most valuable of all mistakes. So when you imagine a 1992 close AM penny with a double die and wrong planchet error, you begin to see why this is not just any coin but a one-of-a-kind treasure that collectors would pay anything to own. But the errors do not end there, because this legendary coin is also said to have an off-center strike, where the design of Lincoln's bust is shifted noticeably to one side, leaving a blank crescent of metal visible on the other side. And off-center strikes are highly collectible, especially when they are dramatic but still retain the full date, which in this case they did, so that the error is obvious yet the year remains legible. And further adding to its allure are die cracks and cuts visible on the surface, raised lines, and blobs of extra metal caused when the dies themselves cracked or broke during the striking process. And dramatic cuts are especially appealing because they give the coin a very unique look, almost as though extra metal is spilling out of the design. And beyond all these mechanical errors, what makes this coin even more valuable is its condition, because while most pennies circulate heavily and become worn down quickly, this particular piece somehow survived in near mint state condition, retaining its original luster, sharp details, and pristine surfaces. And when you combine an ultra-rare variety like the 1992 close AM with major errors and near-perfect condition, you have the recipe for a coin of incalculable value. And it is no wonder that when this piece was authenticated, graded, and brought to auction, it triggered an absolute frenzy among top collectors and investors from around the world, who understood immediately that they were not just bidding on a coin but on a piece of history, a once-in-a-lifetime find that would likely never appear again. And as bidding escalated, the price climbed higher and higher until it reached the jaw-dropping total of $94 million, a price that seems impossible yet makes sense when you understand how numismatics works. Because the value of a coin is not in its metal but in its rarity, uniqueness, and story. And this 1992 penny had all of these in abundance, because it tells the story of a mistake at the mint, of transitional dies and design changes, of an off-center strike and doubling in cuds, of survival against all odds in immaculate condition, and of discovery by someone who probably had no idea at first that the penny they were holding would turn out to be worth more than the world's most expensive cars, houses, or jewels. And beyond its individual story, this coin also represents the broader magic of coin collecting, because it reminds us that incredible treasures can still be found in the most ordinary of places, hiding in change jars, tucked away in drawers, or passed over on the ground. And that is why collectors all over the world are fascinated by coins like this, because they fuel the dream that maybe, just maybe, they too could stumble upon the next multi-million-dollar rarity. And that dream keeps the passion alive, inspiring people to look closely, to study details, to learn the history, and to treasure the small things, because as the 1992 penny proves, even the smallest things can hold unimaginable value. And as we reflect on why this particular coin reached $94 million, we see clearly that it was the perfect storm of factors: a unique transitional close AM design, a potential double die error, possible wrong planchet striking, dramatic off-center strike, visible die cracks and cuds, survival in mint state condition, and a discovery story that captured the imagination of collectors everywhere. And when you add all of those together, you get a coin that is not just rare but virtually unique, and uniqueness is priceless. So the next time you handle a penny from the early 1990s, take a careful look at the spacing between the letters A and M in America, check for doubling, examine the surfaces for cracks, because who knows, you might just be holding a fortune in your hands. And that is the real magic of this hobby. The knowledge that history, rarity, and life-changing value can hide in plain sight, waiting for someone with sharp eyes and curiosity to discover it. And that is why this story of the 1992 penny worth $94 million will continue to fascinate, inspire, and excite generations of collectors, serving as proof that mistakes, when rare enough, can become miracles. And miracles in the world of coins can turn 1 cent into a treasure worth nearly $100 million, and that is the incredible tale of the 1992 penny, a story that reminds us that sometimes the smallest details make the biggest difference.